Hi, batch 4. Thanks for being early. Siguro we'll start in 5 minutes. Let's wait for more people. I hope your weekend went well, kahit may konting bagyo. So anyway, see you in a bit, mga 5 minutes. So if you guys are still eating, it's fine. If you guys are commuting or something like that, okay lang naman. So see you in a bit, 5 minutes. Thank you. So hi everybody. So as mentioned earlier, we'll start ng 8:05. So I hope everybody is doing okay. Kasi alam naman natin yung weekend medyo bumagyo sa ilang parts, right? So I don't know if you guys were affected by the recent typhoons, but thank you for being here. Sana naka-rest kayo somehow. no, during the weekend, even if it was a bit busy. So sa akin, medyo busy siya for the past few weeks because of different events. Kasi nasa events na ako ngayon. So definitely kapag events, umaabot ng midnight and even early, di ba? So thank you again for being here. I think we are all, I think 11 or 12 na tayo. Ayan. So tonight, it will be very quick. By the way, I'm turning off my camera lang kasi medyo mahina yung internet namin and medyo baka maingay din yung background because I'm near our Wi-Fi just in case kasi baka biglang mag-off. So anyway, it will be very quick tonight. I think we only have 25 slides or less. So I'm sure some of you or most of you already know a lot of things that we will talk about tonight, but hopefully we'll also have new learnings and maybe we can also unlearn some stuff as well. Okay, so again, this is Mikey. So you can chat with me sa Slack. I think some of you or a few of you have reached out to me, I think last week. Two or three of you reached out to me last week so that they can consult for their resume. So you can still do that. Okay, so you still have lots of time for you to do that. So Slack, I'm available except kapag may mga events lang kami. So medyo nalilate ako ng response. But anyway, tonight we will talk about target setting. So target setting, as we all know, ano ba yung goal natin here sa Go IT? Diba? Our goal is to be, is to be able to use our skills na natutunan natin kay Go IT and be able to finally, use them in the real world. So real world meaning, if you are already in the IT world or not, di ba, pwede pa rin natin magamit yan. And then eventually, if you guys will be transferring just like me, so from HR to training to edu, now sa events, so marami ng, what do you call this? Marami na siyang pinagdaan ng industries. But still, 'di ba, yung mga target setting naman natin or mga goals natin will always be something that of course tayo makikinabang, magbe-benefit tayo first when it comes to our skills and at the same time second, of course kung paano ba natin matutulungan natin sarili natin financially and of course our loved ones. So yun yung mga target setting natin. But for tonight, okay, we are going to talk about some stages in IT. So how to get a potential interview. So ano ba yung must-haves natin in the interview? For example, you're happy with your employer right now, but eventually you would like to transfer. 'Di ba? Baka nalilimutan na natin, how do we actually do an interview? Or ano ba yung pwede sa ating what do you call this? Paano ba tayo pwede mag-stand out aside from or among all the other candidates? So, definitely, iba-iba when it comes to HR. Iba-iba yung hinahanap nila, iba-iba yung goals nila, yung culture nila as a company. But then, there are some, okay? There are some, paano ba to? Common denomination, or denominator rather, na hinahanap ng HR. And later on, we have recently spoken with an HR person. So recruiter siya sa multinational company in BGC. So aside from all the blockmates that I've spoken with before when it comes to recruitment, diba? Ito talaga, kilala siya not just in the Philippines but also internationally. So hopefully we'll get, advice from him later. So yes, let's move on. Yan. So, eto, well, I think, kailan ba yung last nating pagkikita? Baka mamaya meron sa inyong updated, di ba? Updated na ba ang ating status when it comes to our career? So, maybe I can give you guys 1 minute or 2 minutes Maybe you guys already have an update when it comes to your employment status, whether you are still employed. Right now, you're actively looking for a job, you want to transfer already, or number three, you are taking a break. So at this time, since it's already November, di ba, marami ng mga activities sa HR, sa events, sa, internal, di ba, ang dami na. So, merong iba, what I know is that they really take their time, okay? They take their time until end of December na, paano ba 'to, na hindi mag-a-apply. Kasi syempre kapag December, ang dami ng holidays, ang dami ng naka-leave, and of course, hindi ko alam kung nandun pa rin tayo sa stage na exchange gift. Hindi ko alam kung nakikita niyo yun sa Facebook or sa mga memes. Exchange gift meaning, pagkabigay ng 13th month, may kapalit ng resignation letter. Di ba yung mga ganon? So, maybe you can type in the chat your employment status para naman baka mamaya meron na tayong bagong pwedeng i-prioritize, di ba? So, we have Alfred, Natalie, Julius, ayan, number two. So we have Marilu, Owen, Edmond, and Valerie. Ayan, mga one and two and three. So yes, so thank you so much for your responses. So right now, di ba, ang dami ng events, ang dami ng, I don't know, whether it's personal or company-wise, hindi ko alam. But I think a lot of us are looking for a job right now. So eventually, baka mamaya pagdating ng January, meron na kayong new job or February. So again, thank you for your answers. So I hope yung December natin happy, no? Happy meaning hindi lang siya happy professionally, but also emotionally, mentally, financially, 'di ba? Socially, and of course, sa family natin, most important. So whether you guys will be taking a long break from work or whether you are, super happy with work right now, yung tipong gusto talaga sumali sa mga corporate events, why not? So, thank you again for your responses. So, yan, hopefully, yes, ma'am, hopefully, talagang magkaroon tayo ng right job for us at the right time. So, let's move on. So, ano ba yung selection stages? So, again, you guys are already, or some of you, or most of you are already looking for a job. So, these are the stages that you guys will be taking. Okay? Some, yung number 4, pwedeng hindi yan pagdaanan, pero most of the time, yes. So, of course, HR interview, test task, a lot of companies will still do or are still doing assessment. So, minsan dun talaga na lang, okay? So, yung mga assessment na yan, don't take them for granted. Because, sa totoo lang, talagang they really check your assessment and then they base, your status dun sa assessment results nyo. Okay? Meaning, kunyari, sa personality. Okay? Let's just say personality check. 'Di ba? Meron diyan na even if ganun ka talagang person, for example, you are this introvert or extrovert person, pero for some reason, meron pa rin silang hinahanap na iba. So, it really depends sa HR, pero hindi natin yun malalaman. But, just be real. Yun na lang. I think best advice for you here when you're doing like a personality check or a test, you'll have to be real na lang. Unless meron kayong connection sa loob, and then they would tell you na sa personality check, this is what they're looking for. So it really depends. So unless meron kayong kakilala sa loob and they have parang they can give you like a good advice kung paano iti-take yung assessment or test task. Other than that, just be real. Kasi again, if the job is for you, then it will be for you. Okay, so technical interview, based from our last webinar, so we had Floyd, 'di ba? May mga technical interview siya na naranasan and mostly, okay, actually not just mostly, but Yes, you will be asked technically. And this interview will be with the PM is project manager, so client or the team. So it really depends kung ano yan. And then eventually you will have the offer. So hopefully and God willing, you will get that offer. So how do you get a potential interview? So as we said before, 99%, okay, of success is actually your resume. If your resume looks good, then definitely they will call you. Okay, resume meaning or looking good meaning if it's neat, if it doesn't have unnecessary what do you call this, unnecessary information like your complete address, your high school, okay? Yung mga tipong if you're married or not, no need to put that. So again, if you want your resumes checked, whether you are not you are whether you are looking for a job or not, you can have me checked it. I think recently too, again, reached out from you recently. So yan, na-check na natin. So I think one of my comments recently was very neat and straightforward ng resume niya. So wala naman talagang template when it comes to resumes, but the HR people are just looking for neatly done resume. And of course, some things that you can do is yung highlight. I-highlight niyo yung projects na ginawa nyo. I-highlight niyo yung, for example, there's this company or brand that you worked for. Diba, i-highlight niyo yun, especially those brands na kilala nila. If it's not kilala, it's also okay, but make sure to highlight those. For example, for example lang, you already made 10 websites in 3 months. For example lang yun, ah. So medyo okay. So for example, you've done that before. So I have sa bullet nyo, lagay nyo accomplished 10 websites in a span of 5 months. For example, yun yung mga sinasabi natin nagsa-stand out. Meaning, very specific siya. Hindi lang siya yung assisted in doing websites. Hindi ganon. Lagyan nyo ng highlight. So whether you assisted, whether you are a junior or a senior, always put specifics. Specifics meaning, again, kung ilan na yung nagawa nyo, kung gaano nyo siya nagawa, kung mabilis nyo ba siya nagawa. Yun yung mga gustong tinitignan ng mga HR. There are also brands or employers na directly CEO ang tumitingin ng resume. Why did I say that? Because my husband is a testament. Recently sa job niya, ano ba siya? It's a fintech company. So when he applied last year, it was the CEO who posted on LinkedIn. So Pinoy ano to Pinoy company to, but it's a paano ba sasabihin? It's a Filipino company. It's based here, but the CEO is a European. So ganun siya. So when we saw that LinkedIn last year, so it was the CEO who posted. And then the first interview was with the CEO and the second interview was still with the CEO. So minsan ganun siya. So make sure to have your resume really looking good para at least kung CEO man yan or decision maker ang nakakita, then it will be very, very quick sa interview process. So yung kanya, since CEO yung nag-post, CEO yung nag-interview, then I think in just 1 or 2 weeks, nakuha niya yung job offer. So make sure if you're not so sure with your resume, you can have me check. Okay? So I can help you with that. So don't forget, by the way, yung letter of motivation. So it's just a 3 to 5 sentence motivation letter. Hindi naman siya yung tipong kailangan yung ilagay yung ginawa nyo from end to end. Pero basically, what they would want to see, ano ba yung generally, ano yung parang career summary nyo. Parang ganon. And then of course, don't forget to put there looking forward to your response. So Or you can reach out to me through these numbers or through this email. So yun yung mga pwede nyong ilagay dyan. Of course, don't forget, if you get an interview, don't forget to be on time. And don't forget to, don't forget to check your resume. If they want you bringing your resume on site, just in case an on-site interview will happen, don't forget to check your resume kung may typos ba yan or wala. Kasi even if you don't see it, sometimes the HR people see it. Sometimes they brush it off, sometimes they don't. So yun lang, very, very quick from there. And of course, red flags. So ano ba yung red flags when communicating with a candidate? So number one, if you're not prepared for the interview. So in all honesty, 'di ba? Wala naman talaga sa ating ready sa buhay, sa trabaho, sa mga anak, sa family, or basically generally wala sa ating prepared. Pero you can always, okay? You can always, you know, practice, okay? Practice meaning if you want like a one-on-one interview with me, it's okay. Sa tingin nyo, I think sa batch, not so sure if it's batch 2 or batch, sorry, I forgot if it's QA or DA, yung batch na yon. Parang nag-try kaming mag-mock interview and then sabi niya, ito yung gusto ko po sanang sabihin. Okay lang po ba to? So may ganun kaming call. So, I think that was around August or July. So, yon. So, medyo nag-practice kami paano daw kapag may tinanong, ano po yung pwede kong isagot kasi wala naman po or matagal akong walang trabaho. So, yung mga ganon, pwede tayong mag-practice. If you have that para mga situations or concerns that you have that you're not so sure on how to answer, just message me. For example, you have a question in mind na possibly masagot or matanong pala ng HR and you're not so sure how to answer it, you can message me in Slack. Okay, so tardiness or yung pagiging late, be careful with that because if there's another interview before you or after you, that definitely baka ma-push out ka. And then technical unpreparedness. So as we all said, okay, so our mentors are still there. Okay, so even if tapos na kay Go IT, our mentors are still there. You can definitely ask them for technical questions. Okay, you can always message them kasi they're there to help beyond Go IT. So kahit tapos na yung Go IT stint nila, it's okay. You can always message. So yung lack of career development vision, so there are employers who will ask you, how do you see yourself after 5 years? So sa inyo, 'di ba? You have to think of that. What do I want to do after 5 years? Will I still be in the company? Or if you're not so sure, okay, for example, you're not so sure kung ano yung gusto mong gawin after 5 years, you can research about the company. Ano ba yung vision nila after a few years? Pwede nyo siyang i-check sa website, pwede nyo siyang i-check din when it comes to yung culture nila sa LinkedIn, i-check nyo. Gusto nyo ba magkaroon ng team? Or if you don't want to be if you don't want to be if you don't want to handle a team but would like to, rank or ladder, yung parang magkaroon ng corporate ladder, then it's okay. Pwede nyo rin yung sabihin. For example, in the future, I would like to be a senior manager of ganito, ganyan. But as an individual contributor, meaning, ayaw nyo mag-handle ng team, pero yung posisyon nyo mas mataas na. So, yung mga ganung bagay, you can actually think of that as early as now. So again, it's the same with motivation naman. Bakit ba kayo or bakit ka na nag-apply? So initially, HR asked that. So why did you apply for this role, 'di ba? So why did you apply for this company? Ano ba yung ang gagawin nyo, what you can do is that you can actually research the company. If it's, for example, yung motivation nyo is na nakita nyo yung company is remote work. You think that the company has work-life balance. You think that the company has good culture. you think that the company actually gives good pay or nandun sa parang benefits nila na competitive salary package, you can actually mention that to the HR kasi alam naman nila yun eh. And they just want that. They just want to know your motivation kasi baka mamaya yung motivation nyo is wala lang. And then after a month, aalis kayo, di ba? They just want like a clear motivation. So if you don't know your motivation just yet, you can research about the company, check their benefits or what they're giving their employees. Then from there, baka pwede kayo mag-come up ng motivation nyo. Of course, cheating, never allowed. So, medyo, just be real with yourself, diba? Nakikita rin naman yan ng mga HR people. So, even if we always say best foot forward, yes, best foot forward, but also at the same time, try not to lie. Don't ever lie because some employers, even if hindi pa kayo nakahire or even if, or before kayo bigyan ng job offer, they actually do a background check. So, for example, makita nila sa resume nyo that you work for this company, ganyan-ganyan, even before. So, minsan make or break yun. Even if ilagay nyo dyan sa resume nyo is ganito, ganyan, pero they call the company and you're not part of that, then sayang yung offer, for example. Of course, criticism of the previous employer, do not ever, okay? Because they will ask you, why did you leave your previous company? They will definitely ask you that. So do not ever criticize your previous employer. Why? Because ang iisipin ng HR is that gagawin nyo rin yun sa kanila in the future. So when you decide to leave the company, for example, yung current employer nyo, and then you're having an interview with an HR person, and parang, okay, so medyo uulan na naman dito, sorry. So, for example, you're having an interview, why did you leave your company? Or why are you deciding to move to another company? And then you criticize, sabihin nyo, kasi ang pangat ng boss ko, or sorry, ang pangat ng ugali ng boss ko, or hindi ko na gusto yung company culture, mafe-feel off yung HR because that's what you can do also to them kapag gusto nyo na lang mag-transfer ulit. So don't ever. Another advice, for example, yung pwede nyo ibigay sa why are you deciding to leave the company or why do you want to leave or why did you leave your previous company? Ang pwedeng sagot dyan, by the way guys, don't forget, kailangan pa rin totoo ha. So number one, for example, kung yung company nyo before is from work from home, biglang naging full-time on-site. Kung anyari, ayaw nyo yun. So for example, our company changed its direction. So from a full-time work from home job, it suddenly became a 5-day on-site job, which I'm not so sure if I'm still okay with that. Because, for example, malayo. Kunyari, Makati yung trabaho, pero taga Pampanga ka. So, di ba, hindi na siya okay. Kasi hindi na talaga. So, that's one way you can tell them why are you leaving your company. And then you can also tell them, for example, you want to parang have yung goals nyo, for example, yung goals nyo, you want to also paano ba to? Gusto niyo maging manager, you want to apply to, a better role, for example, or you want to also try to, you also want to try applying sa dream company nyo. So, yun yung mga pwedeng yung sabihin sa kanila, just in case tanungin kayo why you want to leave your company. And of course, conflict behavior. So, baka makita nila sa resume nyo is ganito kayong tao, pero pagdating sa interview, iba na pala. So, make sure, di ba, what you put on paper, you also are practicing it. So, what people say, di ba, walk the talk. So, if you're that person na talagang reliable, di ba, marami naman talaga sa atin ganyan na, in all honesty, syempre kapag mag-a-apply tayo, talagang best foot forward, but then in the end, some things are off in between, 'di ba? So parang nawawalan na tayo ng gana. wala na tayong motivation to work and all that. So, 'di ba, try to as much as possible, of course, show to them who you really are. Who you really are, meaning, of course, everybody is a good person. So if they see that, if they see your potential, then definitely, okay yan. But, syempre, kung meron kayong, may mga like illegal stuff kayong ginawa before and then you're not declaring it or something like that, then that's conflict behavior. Okay, so let's move on. So yan. So paano ba mag-prepare ng interview? For example, online. Okay, so online, first you can ask them, do I need to turn on my camera? Kasi merong mga HR dyan. For example, nahihiya kayo. May mga HR dyan na hinahanap pa rin yung mag-on kayo ng camera. Kasi kapag sa kanila naka-off, definitely parang minsan nahihiya tayo or minsan, since naka-off naman siya, pwede mo off na lang din ako. Pero, you can actually ask them, hi, is it okay if I turn off my camera? Or, would you like me to turn on my camera? So, HR people appreciate that. So, kasi may iba dyan di sinasabi, pero gusto nila naka-on yung camera nyo. So, of course, you have to be, how else do you prepare for an interview? Don't forget your notes. Don't forget your resume. Yung updated resume nyo, itabi nyo na sa gilid nyo. For example, sa phone nyo. Kasi there are times, for example, if you already have lots of companies before, 'di ba? Minsan nalilimutan nyo na ano na yung role nyo. So don't forget to have your resume ready just beside you or kahit nasa phone. And then, okay, don't forget if it will be technical, you can also ask that from the HR. So, will the next stage of the interview be technical? So, of course, para ma-prepare nyo na ahead, yung mga questions, for example, pwede nyo na tanungan yung mga batchmates nyo, ano yung question na tinanong sa inyo during the interview, 'di ba? So, yung mga ganon. So always try to prepare. Even if no one is ever ready for an interview, just prepare. Okay? Next one, of course, as we all keep saying, learn about the company, their activities, ano ba sila? May engagement ba sila? May events ba sila? Or low-key ba sila na company? And then the position, don't forget the position that you are applying for. Okay? Because, okay, later on, dun sa recruiter interview natin, recruiter recorded, what do you call this video, he will tell you more about this. But the position and of course the role is very important. You have to know the position that you are applying for and you have to know the job description. Otherwise, if they see that this is not okay or if they see that hindi siya match dun sa sinasabi mo versus sa ginawa mo, then definitely you will not move on to the next stage. So you have to know the position, you have to know the role. Okay? And of course, again, if you have questions beforehand, you have to prepare for that also. Questions like, okay, for example lang, questions like, you don't want to waste your time, okay? You want a full remote work. But then, for some reason, okay, biglang sa LinkedIn naka-remote siya, pero pagdating sa interview, hindi pala siya remote work. Bigla pala siyang on-site. So that both of you and the recruiter will save time, you can actually ask them, by the way, is the position a remote position or is it a full on-site position? Pwede kasi yan during the interview or actually pwede rin yan sa initial call. Kasi minsan may mga ibang HR na directly tumatawag lang sa numbers nyo. You can ask them there para at least it won't take so much time kung ayaw nyo ng either remote work or on-site work. So you can tell them that as early as the first interview. Okay, so, yan. Secrets of a successful interview. So, medyo marami na tayong nabigay na tips. So, by the way, friends, hindi lang to para sa atin. If you have kids, if you have family members who are actually trying to apply also, or maybe in the future, or eventually they will. Of course, our session is for everybody, especially for those who are applying. Okay, so hopefully you guys or they can also get some tips from here. So during the interview, as we all know, a positive mood sets the tone of the conversation. So I know a lot of us are going through a lot, even if we don't know what's going on, di ba, sa atin. Marami sa atin may mga pinagdadaanan na iba-iba. So, syempre, pagdating talaga sa interview, medyo kakalimutan natin lahat ng yun. And of course, focus tayo sa interview. So, prepare for a small talk. So, for those who don't like small talk, for example, mga introvert people, they don't like being asked, how did you get here? Ano yung ganito nyo? Gusto lang na mga introvert, di ba? Mga straight to the point na lang. So, prepare for small talk kasi baka tanungin, paano ka nakapunta dito sa interview? Or how was the weather outside? Or how was your long vacation? Yung mga ganon. So, just be prepared for that. So, if it's an online interview, try to check, okay, your internet at least 10 to 15 minutes before the interview. Kasi there are moments, okay, kung kailan magkakaroon ng interview or kung kailan magkakaroon ng meeting, diba biglang nagkakaroon ng internet problem. So that happens to me most of the time. So check nyo parati yun. So if you're not so sure, then refresh lang. Okay? So again, as we said, okay, yung mga resume itabi nyo because you might forget kung ano na yung role na ginawa nyo before. Okay, so respect the company that invited you. So whether it's a small company or a big company, talagang itry natin silang respetuhin. Why? Because as we all said, meron dyan na CEO agad ang nag-i-interview. Merong iba na diretsong, how do you call this? Yeah, diretsong CEO. Merong iba na nagsa-start pa lang sa recruiter or pagiging recruiter niya. Kasi malalaman niyo yun, friends, eh. Kapag may tumawag sa inyo, initial interview, and then they sound or the HR sounds parang very fresh pa to from graduation. May mga ganon. Kasi meron talaga. Okay, I've seen or I've heard a lot of recruiters, maririnig niyo sila sa phone kapag ini-interview kayo. May mga po, meron ding parang hindi pa masyadong confident. So whether or not, okay, whether or not they're new to the company is big or small, you have to respect that. And of course, don't focus on your flaws. Kasi 'di ba tinatanong diyan na, what's your weakness? Or can you give me 3 weaknesses? So, do not focus on the flaws itself. Of course, kailangan nyo talaga i-build up yung sarili nyo. But, if they ask you, ano ba yung weaknesses nyo? I don't know if a lot of you know about the sandwich method. Ano ba yung sandwich? Ano ba yung sandwich? Dalawang tinapay sa taas, sa ibaba. And then sa gitna, merong palaman. There's spread. So what you can do, for example, tinanong, ano ba yung biggest weakness nyo? So, just like the bread, lalagay niyo yung, of course, yung bread sa ilalim. Gitna is palaman, and sa taas is also bread. Meaning, sandwich method, positive sa end. So, sa top and bottom, it's positive. Sa gitna, yung medyo flaw, yung medyo weakness. So, for example, ano bang pwedeng, for example, the company, medyo siya, medyo extroverted, medyo gusto nila parating team player, gusto nila parating nakikihalubilo sa mga tao. So, what you can do is, one of the things, for example, you can tell them, one of the things that I am trying to improve on is my social interaction skills. So, bakit social interaction skills tatanungin kayo? You can tell them, because I'm an introverted person, I actually am not, parang pwede nyo sabihin, hindi nyo, mas gusto nyo nag-work kayo alone, di ba? I-explain nyo sa kanila, mas gusto nyo nag-work kayo alone, but then, of course, I'm also trying my best to interact with my teammates. I'm also trying to practice, my social interaction skills. So, pwede niyo yung sabihin sa kanila para at least yung end meaning yung pinakahuling sasabihin nyo, positive pa rin sa ears nila. So that's what you call the sandwich method. So for example, again, social, you're an introvert person. So of course, if you're an introvert person, that's not wrong, okay? All personalities are good. So yan, that's positive already. So ano yung gitna nyo? Because dahil social, paano ba to? Dahil introvert person ka, you want to work alone, you work alone best, diba? You are an independent worker. So for them, it's still not a flaw. For them, ha? For example, the company, yun nga, extroverted siya. Gusto nila yung parating nakipag-interact sa tao. For them, it's still not parang weakness. And then in the end, of course, you're improving, you're trying to practice your social skills, ganyan. So that's another positive side. So hopefully you guys can practice that. Tell me, of course, you can Slack me. Tell me, for example, paano po yung weakness ko ganito? Just tell me, baka we can check what you can also tell them. So don't forget, okay, do not invent cases or facts. So, 'di ba? Facts is facts. So please do not tell them otherwise kasi they can find out about your situation or even about the previous employer. So next we have your technical assignment interview. So your link should be working, your project should be active, everything is okay because they might or you might, okay, you might show them on site or you might show them parang live katulad ng ginawa niyo sa graduation. So they can really do that. 'Di ba? So don't forget, if you're not so sure, for example, sa technical interview, your mentors are there. Okay, you can ask them na mentor ganito, mentor ganyan, paano ba ito may help kasi may technical interview ako. Pwede yun. You can ask them. If you're not so sure, you can always ask them. So don't forget to write down the recruiter's technical questions. Why? Okay? Because baka mamaya sa next interview mo, for example, another employer asks you for an interview. What you can do, pwede nyo, since nasulat nyo na yung questions from before, from the or from the other company, alam nyo na rin yung pwede nyo sagutin dun sa next company na mag-i-interview sa inyo. Okay? And don't forget the deadline. So deadline, especially if you're still doing the assessment, very strict sila dyan. Okay, why? Kasi of course, they also have their timelines, they have their deadlines as well. If you guys don't meet that, even if you ask for a plea or makipag-plead kayo doon, sometimes, well, not sometimes, actually most of the time, they don't allow it. Okay? So, even if yung excuse nyo nawalan ako ng internet or parang may nangyari sa family or, may mga bagyo, sometimes, pag-iisipan pa ng HR yun kung pagbibigyan kayo ng another chance. Okay? There's this advertising company that ano siya, maganda yung culture nila sa HR. So, ano to, parang yung person, I'm not inventing, okay, yung mga scenarios ko, hindi ako nag-invent. It's really real. So, yung, paano ba to, yung employee or yung candidate pala, yung candidate, nalimutan niya, okay, na meron siyang 4 o'clock PM na na interview. So the HR already messaged the person na, "Hi, I've been waiting here for 15 minutes kasi 4:15 na yon." So meron mga HR na ganun kabait. Pero meron talagang mga HR na hindi. So try to stick to the deadline. So fortunately, dun sa candidate na sinabi ko, kahit na late siya ng 15 minutes, kasi totally nalimutan, okay? Totally nalimutan ng candidate na may interview siya. Na ano pa rin siya, na-hire pa rin siya sa advertising company na yun, na based in Europe. So, just always stick to the deadline, put a calendar so that you won't forget. And, okay, yan. So, marami nagtatanong sa atin or Marami nang natanong sa atin before, what salary do you expect? So ako, ang my advice, okay, never ever give your current salary. Okay, why? Why am I saying this? Because number one, baka yung budget ng company. For example, budget ng company is 50,000 pesos. But then you only told them your salary is 25, for example. Then, ang mangyayari nun is that the company will either stick to the 25K or parang magkakaroon lang ng konting raise. So we don't want that to happen to anybody. So for example, they ask you, what salary do you expect? So what you can do is you can actually ask, okay? You can actually ask them, what's your salary range or what's the budget for the role? So for example, senior IT web developer. What's the budget salary for the role? So at least they can tell you, okay, actually our budget is around, for example lang, 60K, 70K. So, pwede na yun, pwede nyo niya i-check na, okay, I'm good with that, I'm good with that salary range or salary. Diba? Please, do not ever. Again, sayang yung posibleng budget na pwedeng mabigay sa inyo sa role, especially if the company has good budget for the role, kasi otherwise, baka hindi bigay sa inyo. Unless, okay, for example naman, another scenario is si HR magsasabi sa inyo, it's actually an open budget, so wala pa talaga silang budget for that. Pero ang sasabihin nyo lang, what you can tell them is instead of your current salary, you can give them a salary range. So for example, I'm looking at 60 to 70 or 60 to 80 para at least happy pa rin kayo dun whether or not mas mababa or mas mataas yung makuha nyo. So medyo ganun siya. Try to do that because maraming, especially now if it's an international company and marami sa kanila na ganun na yung sinasabi. I think we have a question. I'm not so sure. What if you're new to full stack with no experience? Yan. So thanks, Edmond. So actually, if you're new to full stack, so number one, you have to research ano ba yung general salary ng new full stack developer. 'Di ba ngayon sa Philippines or even globally. You can check that para at least you can also base your salary at what you can tell them or yung salary range pwede nyong i-base dun sa average salary ngayon sa market. So whether it's Philippine market or global market, you can do that. And then they tell you, okay, what if the HR tells you, I think that's a little bit too high. For example lang, 150,000K, di ba? Kunyari 150,000 yung expected mo or yung gusto mong salary, pero yung budget is 110,000 pesos, for example. So, tatanungin sa inyo, are you okay with that? So, babalansehin nyo rin. Meaning, for example, if it's on-site or not on-site, tapos maganda naman yung benefits, meaning meron siyang 13th month, 14th month, 15th month, diba? May ganun. So, posibleng mag-balance yun sa gusto mong salary. So again, if you're new to full stack, diba, which most of us are, then you can ask, number one, you can research the market ngayon. Ano ba yung average salary ng full stack web developer? From there, you can check yung pwede nyong sabihin na salary range. Okay, you can tell them, okay, my salary range is that or is this, or you're looking at this salary range, diba? So at least yun, pwede nyo nang hindi kayo bababa dun sa market value. Okay, so I hope I was able to answer your question. And of course, some tips before we go. So again, be yourself. So this is actually the best option. So they just want to see if their hiring is not a robot. Siyempre, di ba medyo okay, pero they really want that na gusto lang naman nila makita na okay, pwede ba to? Teachable ba tong tao na to? Or masyado na tong mayabang? Di ba yung mga ganon? So they don't want that. They want someone who's willing to learn, who's actually, aside from willing to learn, meron siyang leadership skills. Leadership skills, meaning even if walang nakakakita or meron ng team or wala, pwede pa rin siyang ma-count on, 'di ba? So number 2, if of course, do not Google. So especially yung mga assessment test, in all honesty, meron silang tracker or something like that na 'di ba meron pang kapag nag-a-assessment ka, meron pang naka-on yung camera. So they have that, okay? They have that in their system that if you're trying to cheat or Google something, they will see it. Okay? And of course, sa interview, don't forget to ask them. Always ask. Kasi syempre, hindi lang naman kayo yung naghahanap ng trabaho, but you want the company also na mapupuntahan nyo is a good company. You want yung company is tatagalan nyo. Kasi syempre, mahirap paghanap ng work, diba? So, of course, you have to ask them. If they're asking you, you have to ask them as well. For example, yung position na to, for example lang, yung IT position na to, parati na lang open. So you can actually ask them, may I know why is the position vacant? Even if alam niyo sa sarili niyo, parati every year na lang itong vacant bakit kaya? So you can actually ask them. Kasi minsan, masasabi sa inyo ng HR yung totoo, minsan they will not. So why did I tell you that? That you can ask them if the position is vacant. My first boss, she was an HR consultant and they have now a training firm. So when I was still studying, siya din yung teacher ko nung college ko. So she was my HR prof. And then, she was my first boss as well. So, yun yung parati sa amin tinatanong. You can ask those, sinasabi, ask them why is the position open, especially if you see that the position is always open. Meaning parang wala tong nagtatagal or parang hindi pa na-fulfill yung position na to. And from there, you can actually check sa sarili mo, itutuloy mo pa ba yung interview? Itutuloy mo pa ba yung application mo? Kasi parang alanganin kasi hesitant, parang sketchy, di ba? Parang ganun, medyo kakaiba. Bakit to parating open? So you can ask them that. And of course, don't forget to ask them pala if there are benefits. So you can actually ask them that first ano pa lang sa interview kasi merong mga companies, especially if it's an international company, wala silang parang entity sa Philippines. So you can ask them, may benefits ba? Kasi pag walang benefits, you can actually ask them for a higher pay pa. 'Di ba? So for example, binigyan kayo, may offer na kayo, friends. May offer kayong 100,000, for example. 100,000 pesos from an international company. It's not based in the Philippines. It's full remote work pero walang benefits. You can tell them, is it okay na for example, sorry, not 100,000, sabihin mo 80,000. 80,000 yung binibigay sa inyong offer, pero walang benefits, meaning walang HMO, walang insurance, walang 13th month, walang, ano pa ba? Ano pa ba yung mga benefits? Walang mga taxes, di ba? Mga ganon, SSS. Actually, maganda na full yung makukuha nyo na 80K, pero if it's coming from another country, there will be transfer fees, di ba? Mababawasan yan, tapos depends pa kung dollars yan. So, what you can do, since we don't have benefits here, di ba? You can tell them, since we don't have benefits here, can we add a little more sa base salary ko? Because we also, here in the Philippines, we have 13th month. Diba? So, kunyari yun, may 13th, wala tayong 13th month kapag international company siya. So, pwede nilang ibigay sa inyo. For example, 90K, 100K. So, at least, diba? So, nataasan nyo because you ask. Okay? If you don't ask, posible hindi siya mabigay sa inyo. And another tip from another candidate na nakausap ko, I think just last year, yes. So, ang offer sa kanya was 90,000 pesos. But then, alam nyo naman yung tax sa Pilipinas, di ba? Malaki. So, we don't want too much of that tax or much of the tax na napupunta lang sa hindi natin alam kung saan. So what he did was, okay, this is real, okay, this is true. Okay, the offer was 90,000 pesos. Naghagal siya CEO, naghagal siya sa CEO. Is it okay if we close it to 100,000 pesos because of the tax? Ayun. So, binigay sa kanya 100,000 pesos. So, you can always ask and try to negotiate. Then, kapag hindi na kaya, then you can always check on yourself kung tatanggapin nyo ba yung offer or hindi. But then again, if you don't ask, okay, if you don't ask, then baka hindi pa mapunta sa inyo offer. So we're almost done and sobrang lakas na rin ng ulan dito. So let me show you. Okay, sorry, patapos na rin pala tayo dito. Okay, so by the way, you can take a screenshot of this. Diba? Ano ba yung pwede nyo pang itanong sa HR aside from the things that I've already mentioned earlier? So take a screenshot. You can ask them that if you're confident enough. And if you're not, it's also okay. Diba? Kung nahihiya tayong mag-ask, wala namang problema yon. So, if you think na yung HR na kausap nyo is maayos na kausap, then try it. Pwede nyo silang tanungin ng mga questions na, of course, magbe-benefit din sa inyo. And now, yan. So, I hope you guys will listen to this. So, this is, sorry, it's a friend of a friend kasi siya ng friend ko. I forgot his name. So, friend siya ng friend ko kasi yung friend ko nahihiya siya. As a recruiter, nahihiya siya magpa-interview. So, yung colleague na lang niya na recruiter din yung nagpa-interview. So, let me share you my screen. So, after this, we'll wrap up and then i-end na lang natin yung call in a bit after our recording. Okay, let me just share with you the video.
So, hi. So, one of the things that recruiters look for is, syempre, yung nasa job qualifications. Ay hindi yung una dapat natin tingnan. But if, for example, nakita nyo na ang isang job qualifications ay hindi pasok sa kung ano yung meron ka, then most likely you will not be accepted there. However, more often than not, there are companies and there are job postings na open for fresh grads, and that's something that you should be interested with. Now, in regards with the specifics of the company that you are applying for, one of the things that I can suggest is that you research them. Hindi lang sa kung ano ba yung job role, ano ba ginagawa dun, but more of the company as well. This will help you gauge how interested and how much you want this position, and at the same time if you are a good fit for that company as well, because malaking factor yung company culture, diba? And a lot of other things. My suggestion when it comes to looking into these companies, aside from googling them, you could also go for Reddit, Facebook groups, and also other forums such as Glassdoor and also Indeed. When it comes to the typical questions, more often than not, they will definitely ask the star format. So if you guys are not aware of star format, they're basically situation, task, action, and result. Now, usually this pertains to behavioral or situational questions that would gauge your decision-making skills and also how you would act based on the resources and the situation presented to you. Now, situation means ano yung nangyayari, anong problema. Task is ano yung kailangan mong gawin. Action, ano yung ginawa mo at ano yung naging resulta. So these four are essential in making a decision towards you guys as applicants or candidates whenever they are making a decision towards the role that they are looking for. Good luck, guys.
Ayan, so very straightforward naman si recruiter, di ba? What he said, especially sa mga situational interviews, for example, initial interviews. So star, don't forget star. So star means S, di ba? S is situation, T is for task, A is for action, R is for result. So those are the things that they look for, diba? Tinitingnan nila yung answers nyo or yung responses nyo. If they ask you, so can you give me a situation wherein you had a problem with a client, for example, you had a problem with a client. So no specific, so for example, any problem that you encountered with a client and what did you do? So of course, you have to tell them, for example, yung situation is number one, si client nagre-request ng ganito, may demand siya. So, yun yung situation. So, task, ano ba yung ginawa niyo? Ano ba yung task na gagawin niyo? For example, yung task is yung pinaka basic na dapat niyo gawin. Of course, check niyo yung request niya, 'di ba? Ano ba yung task na pwedeng ginagawa doon? Yung protocol ng company or protocol ng previous company niyo, for example. And then yung A, yung action. Ano ba yung ginawa niyo aside from the basic? Aside from the basic task that you did, ano pa yung extra mile, for example, na action na ginawa nyo para makakuha ng R, magandang result. Diba? So, they want to see that. So, yun yung how do you call this? The structure that HR people look for when it comes to answering questions. So, STAR, again, is situation, T for task, A for action, R for result. Okay, so hopefully, 'di ba, meron tayong mga nakuhang new stuff from tonight kasi nga I know that there have been a lot or there had been a lot of interviews that we did before. Okay, we've done before, but then at least meron tayong bagong natutunan hopefully and hopefully ma-apply na natin siya. So, super lakas ng ulan dito. I hope sa area nyo, hindi naman. Pero dito, sobrang lakas ng ulan. So, we're almost done. But, just some tips, paano kapag na-reject tayo, di ba? So, if you get rejected, that means that's not the right job for us. Kasi baka mamaya, the Lord is just saving you from the job that you wanted. You want this job so bad, or the company, you want this job or the company so bad, ang nangyari, you didn't get accepted. So, number one, syempre, I'm sure you guys will feel bad. And that's totally valid. Valid kasi gusto mo siya, dream job mo siya, pero hindi mo siya makukuha for some reason. But, you know what I always think of kapag hindi ko nakukuha yung gusto ko, for example, or hindi pa time para sa akin, siguro ang ginagawa ko na lang, or what I do is actually, maybe the Lord is just protecting me from this situation. The Lord is just protecting me from maybe major issues sa company or dun sa role, biglang magka-something. So that's what we always think. So yun. Number two, of course, review where you think you can improve on. So for example, may mga interviews kayo na nagsastutter kayo, sobrang alam na alam ni HR na nanginginig kayo, then maybe you can practice that with somebody else. Of course, remember the questions asked during the interview kasi most of the time, pare-parehas lang naman yung tatanungin, di ba? If you can only record your answers, di ba? Pwede naman. You can record habang nag-interview kayo, especially if it's an online interview. So you can record yourself, pakinggan niyo yung sarili niyo, baka naman nakikita niyo, ay naku, mali yung nasabi ko dito. Kaya ito pwede, tama to. So, pwedeng, you can apply that to the next interview. So again, keep applying. The more, the better. Okay, nakakapagod mag-apply. Okay, as I've said sa previous batches, I know somebody who had lots of interviews, but he only got one job offer out of, sabihin natin, 30 interviews. 'Di ba? Pero yung job offer na yun was worth it. Even if it took some time, but it was worth it kasi it was work from home. The pay was good. It was in dollars. The boss was good. Tapos meron pang company laptop na eventually nakuha rin niya as his personal laptop. So, 'di ba? Again, if you guys keep applying, so nakakapagod siya, pero meron at meron pa ring magbibigay sa inyo ng chance. So yun naman yung gusto ko sa inyong i-assure. There will be someone, right company at the right time will definitely contact you if all goes well, di ba? And of course, yung offer na hinihingi nyo, definitely, yung mga gusto naman natin sa buhay, not all the time we can get. We can only trust God more than anything. Diba? Minsan nakakaiyak, shucks, wala pa akong interview, shucks, wala pa akong nagjo-job offer sa akin. Paano? So, you can always just pray and trust God na ilalagay ka pa rin sa bagay na kung saan ka dapat. And if it's for you, it will really happen. No one can stop it. No circumstance will, hinder it from you getting it. So hopefully you guys were able to get some tips, some new learnings, and I hope ni na-unlearn din. Kasi ako din, as I was going through yung mga jobs ko before, natutunan ko rin siya na dapat ina-unlearn ko rin yung mga bagay na nakasanayan. Kung nasanay akong parang hindi ako nagsasabi ng totoo. For example lang to nasanay akong hindi on time, nasanay akong hindi ko siniseryoso, then definitely I will now. Yung mga ganun ba? Okay, so thank you everybody. But before we go, I hope you guys can also mag-picture tayo para we can also share this with Miss Rhea. By the way, si Miss Rhea is not anymore apart or is not anymore connected with Go IT, but you can always message her for anything. Okay? She's always there. So we're very grateful for her. Okay, so if you guys are ready, baka pwede tayo mag-picture. I can send it to our team, to the global team. Okay, by the way, friends, before I forget, kapag meron na kayong na-applyan na bago, for example, meron na kayong bagong hire kayo sa isang company, do not forget to update me, to update Miss Rhea, para we can also share these success stories to others. Okay, so if you guys are ready to smile, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, one more. 1, 2, 3, Jollibee. Okay, so thank you everybody. Good night. Stay safe. Bye-bye.